Good morning. My name is Ariel Newby. I am the current Staff Assembly President. And I welcome you all to our meeting, all of our guests, all of our senators. We appreciate your attendance today. Colleen, how would you like to have a roll call? Do you just want to go through the screens, or do you want to call out everyone?
Well, I did mark off everyone I could see, but there's a few I'm missing, but some of the names don't have like names. They're just usernames, so I don't know who they are. So I think I might just go through and make sure.
Okay, go right ahead.
Christine Aznara, Latrice Butler, Destiny Elliott, and Deidre Richards, Venus Spencer, and Amy Spencer West. Okay, those are the only ones I wasn't sure about. Everybody else I have. Thank you.
Thank you. And I assume that means we have a quorum, but we're not going to do any voting today, so we won't have to worry about that. Again, we want to welcome you all to our meeting. I'll go over briefly before we get to the ground rules what today's agenda will be. So first, we're going to just do a check-in with all senators and visiting members as you would like to speak. Then we're going to reflect on our town hall that happened last week. We're going to discuss any thoughts or concerns that are coming from the staff that we should know about that should possibly be elevated, but just even give our assembly more context to what's really going on around campus. Since this is our first meeting since we have left campus, I think there's probably some things we should discuss as a whole. And then we'll just have any sort of updates from the senators or committee members as needed. It's not mandatory, but we know that there has been some movement and we just want to regather. So the first thing with our ground rules, this meeting will be recorded. And I think it's good to let you know, one, because typically we're in a meeting space. And so we typically have a Vegas rule. And that might change a little bit. So we wanted to make sure that you're aware so that you can think about the things you want to talk about. And if there's anything that is confidential or could lead back to an individual, we ask that you contact us offline. You can contact us, of course, by email. You can set up a meeting with us. And when I say us, I mean any senator. And I'm definitely going to say I'm very available as well. So please take that opportunity that if there's something that's really, I'm sorry, my throat's a little scratchy. If there's anything that's really bubbling that really needs attention, we ask that you definitely contact us offline for individual circumstances. So today we're just going to talk about very broad issues, and especially those that don't link back to any particular person. Second, we are going to ask that you raise your hand. There is a feature on here. If you're not familiar with it, you're going to be able to actually hover over your name, if I'm not mistaken, and then hit the raise hand button. Also, please feel free to use the chat feature. We are monitoring that. So if you would rather ask questions that way too, like if you're like me, sometimes if I don't write it down, I'm going to forget. So it's probably if you want to use the chat feature to ask questions, please do that. Also, all of the senators, if you will, go ahead and add the SA next to your name, just so those who are visiting with us know who the actual senators are. And we're going to ask that before you speak to ask your question, just say who you are, even though we see your name, but just say who you are and then what office you're from. And then, of course, we want to make sure that if we do sort of have some real good dialogue, that we are not attacking people, that we are making sure that we, direct everything toward the question and not the person. All right, I think that is all. So first, and we'll kind of go, just use the hand raise feature and then I'll say your name and then you can unmute. And if you haven't muted, please take this time to mute. And then we'll just go ahead and do a quick check-in. So if you want to go ahead and sort of state how you're doing, this is not so much work related, this is just sort of to relieve in the air and just let us know how you're doing, sort of how these couple of weeks have been going for you. that will be great. So who would like to start? To go like through 3 pages. And please bear with me. This is like my first time doing all of this. So this is like very different. Am I missing something?
Colleen, we recognize you. Go ahead.
Thank you.
My name is Colleen Lynch. I am Secretary for Staff Assembly. I work in the School of Business in the Graduate Career Management Center. I've had a good week this week. This is my 4th week being at home, taking a little bit of an adjustment to get used to it because I'm a pretty social person. But other than that, it's been good. I've adjusted well.
Go ahead, Larry. Nice to hear from you, Colleen.
All right, cool. Larry Jackson. Just want to say everything is doing well here at the plant. And I wanted to point something out. I got an email from Rena, I believe yesterday. There have been higher incidences of Zoom meetings being hacked. So, you know, just for future reference, we might want to set a password to this. I see there's 62 participants and there's really only, what, 24 of us here? I'm not saying nobody should be here, but we should continue to be aware of the participants' numbers going up.
Thanks for that, Larry. I'm actually going to stop sharing video so that we can make sure everyone can hear. I don't know about anyone else, but my audio quality is a little garbled. It might be my personal network, but I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing video. Thanks for sharing, Larry.
Yeah, no problem. My video is my audio is also garbled, and I'm actually hooked up to the college network here, so I'm getting some lag as well.
And I think I'm having technical difficulty now.
If anyone else wants to share how they've been handling the transition, if there's anything that they've noticed a trend happening, please feel free to share.
Hi, this is Sally, Staff Assembly Treasurer, and I work in the Department of Government, and I'm the Admin and Fiscal Coordinator. I would really like to hear from some of our facilities people and some of our essential employees. Like, I know Crystal has talked a lot about her experience, so maybe she could share with the wider group. Sorry to put you on the spot there, Crystal.
It's okay. I'll show my video again, just if this is an issue, let me know. I work in environmental health and safety. We have had a very hectic time trying to, I guess, support everybody that's on site in terms of essential personnel. I am on site 3 half days a week right now because I'm also taking care of 2 small children while my husband works full time. But in terms of facilities, there's been a lot of, mixed emotions. Everyone has high emotions during this time, which is normal, myself included. So trying to figure out the right avenue to take with training, supporting people, trying to get the right PPE. Yesterday, we've set up to get cloth masks for all of our facilities personnel, as well as, I don't know if any of you have seen it, but the little thing that goes behind your head so you don't have to put the elastic around your ears. So that's the thing that we're doing. We've put up a lot of training on our website and helpful resources under environmental health and safety, workplace, and COVID-19. But yeah, everybody, depending on the part of facilities they're in, has had a different experience, but trying to support everybody has been challenging. It's been busy. And yeah, I don't know if I'm missing anything from what I said in the executive meeting, but that's been my experience. Very hectic, high emotions, but I think we've done well in responding to a lot of the concerns, but I feel like not everybody sees that. So there are a lot of people that are off-site that are like, well, what's going on with facilities? Or people who haven't had it trickle down from their supervisor, which is also something that we're working on. And as everybody knows in staff assembly, we've been working on communication issues, especially within facilities, for probably all of time. But we're continuing to work on it and trying to support everyone.
Thanks, Crystal. Have there been any, has there been any feedback about the resources that have been posted on the Environmental Health and Safety website?
We've gotten a lot of feedback. We put up 2 videos, and we've gotten a lot of feedback on the operations and maintenance one. So it was a mix of PowerPoint and videos to talk about how to keep yourself safe, about whether or not you should use gloves, about washing your hands, about how it spreads, all of that. I know a lot of us are very, researching a lot, which I've been, following the news and researching a lot, but not everybody does that. So the unknown is very scary to people. So we were trying to get out that message. The building services one just went out, I want to say 2 days ago, but I don't believe it hasn't trickled down as much to everybody to be able to, see it or react to it. But we've got a lot of really positive feedback on the video. We also have a newsletter coming out, and some of the things that we had talked about in the executive meeting, and I think even the town hall, just about communicating to the people that are still on campus or still coming to campus about how they can keep themselves safe and how they can keep the employees safe, because the campus is not unsafe right now. It's just that we want to protect the people that, are required to still come to work, just like everybody, going to the grocery store, wherever they're required to go, how to go about that the right way to stop the spread.
Thanks for letting us know about those resources, Crystal, and thank you. I'll say on behalf of myself, I can't speak for anyone else, but thank you for all that you're doing and your team is doing on campus. Sally, I see your hand. Go ahead when you're ready.
I was just doing some test hand raises so our facilitators could see me. Sorry about that.
Yeah, I can see you. Anyone else want to share?
Latrice, I can't. This is Shannon Turnage, and I'm the business and admin administrator in the registrar's office. The one thing I would note is we've got a couple of people that are going to campus because we have to in our office, and they've been going on Mondays and Thursdays. And they brought to my attention that they have noticed in a couple of places on campus that people aren't necessarily practicing the social distancing. And they were concerned about that because they're in the office and there's people coming in to clean while they're there. So I've made an arrangement to have them come in on days that there's no one in that office. So I'm glad to hear, Crystal, that you have all of these resources, because I think it's very important that even though they are working on campus, that they still understand that they should probably maintain the social distancing aspect of that as well.
Do we have anyone that knows where we can report things like that? I hate to flood Crystal's team or facilities management, like Van Dobson's email or his phone, but do we know where we can report things like that? Does anyone know? If not, I'm happy to research and get back.
I can tell you that over the last, well, yesterday we spent a lot of time walking around campus, and we totally understand, Shannon. We've seen the same things, we've gotten reports, and it really should be reported. You can email safety@wm.edu if you have any concerns, but you can also email work control. That will funnel down to us. And it really is, I mean, if it's about facilities employees, then yes, it really needs to be reported to us so that we can address it. We had gotten those reports, so that was one of the reasons that we were walking around campus yesterday and talking to anybody that we saw that was not social distancing. We have been addressing contractors too, and we've got some like a form information sheet essentially that every contractor is going to have to agree to, which also includes doing social distancing, all of that. So it is a constant battle, but we do want feedback because we want to be doing the right thing. So, you know, it can be anonymously. You don't have to tell me who it was or where it was. But I mean, the location would be very helpful. But yeah, we're not looking to get people in trouble. We're looking to make sure that they understand and that they're doing the right thing, essentially. So yeah, please do report it if you're concerned about it. And, you know, we want to hear that.
This is Shannon again, and I'm sorry I can't get my hand raised to work. But thank you, Crystal. The one thing I did say to our staff and a couple of other people that had reached out is that in my building, there is no space for them to go into for their breaks and such. So I don't know if I believe that that's part of it, because they have such a small area where they can actually take their lunch break. But if there were ways possibly for someone to look into them accessing other areas during this time so that they can still take their breaks and maintain that social distance. But I kind of went to, I was trying to play the advocate there by saying that, you know, in their defense, they really don't have anywhere to go to take their break unless it's together. So that was just a thought.
Okay, we'll address that. And I'll give that feedback to say that we need to ensure that everybody has a place where they can take a break, where they are able to social distance, and that it's really important to do that no matter what you're doing, essentially. But yeah, that's good to know. And we also want to know the key buildings where it's happening. We've had 2 different mentions of other buildings. I know you're in Blow Hall. So we'll address that, and we'll walk through that building as well to encourage that. And we'll find ways to make it so that people can take their breaks without having to all be together. So that's a good point. Thank you.
Hi, this is Latrice again. Mark, I see your hand. Go ahead when you're ready, and then we'll go to Colleen.
Yeah, I just wanted to quick. You guys can hear me now. I just wanted to quickly point out and let everybody know that we are changing our work schedules here in facilities between this week and next week. All the staff are going to different shifts and working 4 10-hour days and limiting the number of facility staff members that are on campus at any given time. So we're rotating schedules. You know, some of the folks have already started this week, and the rest of us will go to next week. So that will significantly, probably close to half the workforce on campus at any given time. So that should help out a little bit too.
I just wanted to thank all of our guests who've responded in the chat with their name, email, and their department. If you are a guest and haven't done that, if you wouldn't mind sharing that information with us, that would be great. Thank you.
Thank you for the update, Mark.
Hi, this is Destiny. I just kind of chimed in and I cannot get my hand raised. I just been doing a clap hand. So I just, whenever I'm falling into queue, I want a question. That's all. Thanks. I'll go back.
Could you repeat that? You said you have a question? I'm sorry.
I do, but I want to fall in line with wherever I'm at as far as questions. Like
Okay,
behind
there are no hands raised that I can see,
Okay.
but
Mine
others
doesn't work.
may be having trouble. Thank you so much. I think Sally posted in the chat how you can raise your hand, but go ahead, Destiny.
Okay. Hello, everybody. I had a couple from housekeeping area members from across the campus express their concern. And if this was already stated, I apologize for repeating, but the president had mentioned that she expected housekeepers to get sick. Is this true? Because I didn't hear that, but that's just what I'm hearing. And if so, they are kind of like talking behind the scenes and not really happy about that. And it's like from top down, if that is true, that's like very sad. The second thing, last thing, please go sit down, is excuse me, the protection for the housekeepers. I heard that they don't have masks, at least masks, outside of what they're cleaning with. But is that true as well? And can they get it if that is true? Thanks.
Crystal, I see that your hand is raised. I'm assuming this means you have an answer to some of this, so go right ahead.
Yeah. So when it comes to masks, masks are recommended now by the CDC for cloth masks, and we are in the process of getting those cloth masks. In terms of what they have been doing thus far, they have not been recommended to be used, like N95s and stuff like that. Those are not recommended to be used in normal, custodial activities. They are using gloves, but when it comes to masks, we're in the process of trying to procure over like a lot of them to be able to have everybody have enough. So we're in the process of doing that. They shouldn't be in a close proximity to each other when they're cleaning anyway. So when it comes to whether it's a custodian or operations and maintenance, up until very recently they have put out that recommendation for cloth masks, and we're in the process of procuring those. The comment about Catherine Rowe saying they were going to get sick, I don't know if that came, I'm assuming most of you were in the town hall. The only thing I remember her mentioning, and somebody else, chime in obviously, was that, at some point all of us may have, my mother-in-law right now is COVID positive. And all of us at some point may, or not all of us, but all of us will be somehow exposed to it in our day-to-day life. She doesn't know how she got exposed to it. And I thought of it as more of a overarching, all of us are at risk, and maybe some of us will get it. It's inevitable, but that's the only thing that I could think of. I haven't heard anything about saying that custodians were going to get it, but anybody else, please chime in.
Thanks for that clarification.
Robin, I see your hand is raised. You may go ahead.
So I do have a resource that was shared with me actually this morning in regards to getting cloth masks for free. I guess there's some students at the business school that you just need to email. It's WMBAcrisisservices@gmail.com, and they're making cloth masks on a first come first served basis. So if we do have employees that need them, that might be a resource that we could use or refer them to.
Thank you, Robin. Before I bring Chris on, I do want to just say thank you out loud to Chris for attending our meeting. This is Christopher Lee, our Chief Human Resources Officer. We appreciate your attendance today. Chris, you can go ahead.
Thank you, ma'am. Well, I want to respond to the last question regarding Catherine Rowe. I would want us to repeat the thought that she may have said something inappropriate. I have not heard her say anything of that sort. If anything, she has done a tremendous amount of effort, to prevent, that sort of thing. So I just want us to be mindful of that. And if people have concerns, I want people to know that they should always follow their normal chain of command. And if their normal chain of command does not respond appropriately to whatever, then that's what, HR is for. And Debbie Howe, I know she's here participating as well. So they can always contact, Debbie Howe, Deb Jarvis, or myself in HR to respond to any issue of any sort, whether a person, is having a problem with a coworker or supervisor, or if they feel unsafe or anything. It is not acceptable in any way that people are put in harm's way and that sort of thing. So it's not as productive if people are chattering amongst themselves. They should use the resources that we have available to address those concerns. So that's just general. And then I don't know if Crystal wants to add more, but we actually had a conversation yesterday with the leaders of facilities management talking about these sorts of things, because we've gotten reports, good, bad, and indifferent, some true, some not true, some violations, some not. And I know they've done a lot of work to try to address all the issues that are there. And we are trying really hard to make sure that everyone has information, is properly trained. The videos, we had individual meetings with Dr. Wells, the infectious disease specialist, and just a variety of things. So we are mindful of all these and trying to be proactive. So everyone's safety is important. And I just want to point that out. Of course, the institution is not perfect. And if you have thoughts or suggestions or ideas about how to do things better, smarter, we're all ears, because we're all in this together. And then I'm here to ask questions and answer any questions if people want to address that. I know a lot of people have been concerned about our fellow facilities staff, and we spend a lot of time trying to make sure that things are done appropriately there, as well as elsewhere as well.
Thank you, Dr. Lee. This is Latrice Butler. I think this is a perfect time to pivot and talk about any feedback from the town hall meeting. I know specifically there was a lot of confusion and concern about leave. I know specifically some folks were told to use their personal leave while they were teleworking. Could you just clarify what the policy is on leave for the folks that are on the call? Thanks.
Yeah, it's all very confusing. I agree with you, because it is multiple factors, and the information and options have evolved over time. So I can see how there's confusion, but I certainly want to point us and everybody else to our FAQ site, because that is the best, most definitive source, and it is updated often. And I will even say, take it over what I say, because it is hard to keep it all, straight. So I think I want to point out the variables first, and then try to address the issue. So the variables are, obviously a person has their own regular leaves, sick, vacation type, thing, family, personal. And then we have the state's public emergency leave, which is a separate bucket. When we started this, it was 80 hours for full-time employees, prorated for our employees who normally most often don't get leave, but they would get health emergency. And then it changed. That changed from 80 hours to 160 hours about days ago. So regular vacation, family, personal, then state's public health emergency leave. And then just last week, we got a potential bucket, which is the Families First Coronavirus Response Act leaves. And that had some interesting tree branches in it, and different kinds of leave at different pay amounts possible depending on one's circumstances. And then if I were to complicate things even more, there's some factors of whether you are VSDP or not. So those are just, 4 or 5 buckets of variables, and those buckets affect people differently based upon the circumstance. To your specific question, yes, there are situations when a person would take their personal annual leave instead of the others. That is if they are choosing to, be off campus or not telework for whatever their own personal circumstances is. So just like on a regular day versus coming to work, you would take leave. So that's the situation when one's own annual leave would be taken. They've decided, not to afford themselves of the telework option, or they just want to take their time. And then, but generally speaking, the public health emergency leave from the state, it has to be one of 4 factors. A person's diagnosed, family members diagnosed, they have been directed by a supervisor, medical professional, or government agency to self-quarantine, and there's a 4th, and I'm hopeful that Debbie will chime in, because I've repeated this many, many times, but it's harder to remember all the details off the top of your head. But there are protocols. Again, it's all on the website. There are 4 different reasons how this triggered. The federal law has those same 4, and then an additional trigger. And that additional trigger is that you can use the federal leave that was passed like last Thursday to care for children, who schools have been closed. So that is a very different law, very different rule that is recent as of last like Thursday. And we were speaking about that yesterday. We did a training session with supervisors yesterday. We sent an email to campus over the weekend. Debbie and her team have been really working hard to get us ready to prepare for that new rule. So Debbie piped up yet to raise her hand to see if she wants to correct or update what I've offered? And while she's doing that, Latrice, did I answer your question fully?
Yes, kind of. So
Okay,
what I was seeing
specific,
in
yeah.
the chat might have been more specific to someone who was instructed to telework, but was also instructed at the same time to use their leave because they weren't in the office. I don't know if others are experiencing that. I'm not experiencing that. I just read that in the chat on the town hall YouTube.
Yeah, and I don't know how to respond to that, 'cause that's a little unclear. I just would hope that you all would help us pass the word to any individual employee. If they have well, first of all, not even any potentially negative situation. It's confusing. It's a lot of different variables. And if an employee has a concern, they should start with the FAQs. It has a lot of information. The supervisors, the next resource, and then ask HR, reaching out to us to help you interpret all the different rules and how they interact, and certainly reach out to us if we're getting information from a supervisor that appears to be, not accurate, not appropriate, et cetera, et cetera. That's what we're here for. So make sure that people do that. Again, the worst thing is for people not to seek our support and help if they have an issue. Listen, we're there. We want to be able to help as much as possible. And then things have evolved over time. So, and every person's situation is slightly different, because not every employee is eligible for every leave type, depending on their personal circumstances.
Thanks, Dr. Lee. There are a couple of hands raised, so we'll go to the hands, and then I'll follow up with a couple of questions that are in the chat. So Shannon, if you want to start.
Hold on, can I just interject for 1 second before Shannon starts? Since we are in the talking about the town hall, and of course, I'm sure some of these questions have to do with more what Dr. Lee said. When we're into the phase of talking about the town hall, I would like us to think about this in twofold. One, because I got a question from President Rose. She wants to know what connected during our town hall. So that would be the first thing I would like you to think about as we're debriefing and really reflecting on the town hall. And then I would like us to also talk about what needs improvement? What could we think about for our next town hall? That kind of thing. So what connected, what was good, what were you feeling? And the other side, not so much what weren't you feeling, but how can we do better? Or how can we, when we think about our next town hall, how can we improve? Thank you.
There's a question in the chat around employees being home through May 1st and the governor's orders to 10 FAQs, because I think that's the expectation of the president, that we'll be teleworking through, I think June 12th is the date that has been recently published or is about to be published. So things are evolving, and that's why it's so important for us all to keep abreast of those FAQs. I would check them every other day at least, because as we get questions from you today, questions yesterday, things evolve. We research those, try to find answers, and then publish things there. And that's our best way to try to keep 2,500 people informed and doing good work.
Thank you, Dr. Lee. Shannon, if you want to go ahead.
Sure, thanks,
Yes.
Latrice. Thank you, Dr. Lee. I'm happy to hear that the clarification has been put out there. Ariel, in response to the feedback, I thought the town hall was a great way to feel connected and see how others are surviving at home with children and all of the chaos that's gone along with this whole situation. The one thing that concerned me during that town hall was the perception that was raised in a chat that people that are teleworking are getting paid to stay home. And so I'm really glad to know that we're having this today, so that people will understand that those people that are working or teleworking from home are working. Because I have found personally that I get on and start working earlier in the morning. I am sometimes after 5, well after 5 before I stop working. And I've also found that, with your office being in the home, sometimes I'll walk by at 9 o'clock at night and be like, oh, well, let me see what my email looks like. And I will answer that. So just so that maybe they can reiterate on another town hall or in some way or fashion that people that are teleworking are working. And I jokingly said to some people in my office, I was like, yeah, I wish we were getting paid just to stay home and enjoy, the next couple of months like a vacation. But it's truly not a vacation when your home office becomes a part of your daily life in the same residence and you're on a stay-at-home order. So it has its pros and cons, but it's been quite an adjustment to have everything under one roof.
Thanks for sharing, Shannon. I know Destiny mentioned in the chat just privately to me that she has a kudos for HR. So we want to go ahead and open up the floor for Destiny so Dr. Lee and Debbie and the whole HR team can hear before they have to go.
I just want to say that I joined into the group that was discussing children at home and working, which I feel like I was working, longer hours, harder hours, I should say, not longer, but harder hours, because I have to balance and multitask. So I really appreciate Babs and whomever got that together as far as all the suggestions and then also the resources that I can use, which does help because, I have 2 children, different age levels. So I became the homeschool teacher. Thank you. That's all. Keep up those things.
Well, thank you. And your ideas and suggestions on what else we could do are very important. We had our second supervisors telework sort of session yesterday. You know, I think we had about 200 people both times, and I think we're thinking we may need to do it every 2 weeks because we're all learning and growing. And I was actually thinking yesterday, because we got good feedback, do we need to do something for employees every other week as well? So we did the teleworking for parents, and I'm wondering, you know, Ariel, is there other programs that we can put on?
I'm going to say right off the bat, I'm sure there are. That's why I think it was good to have this meeting so that we could find out more circumstances that we can help out with. Off the top of my head, I mean, I'm thinking about people who are even caretakers. I'm home with a child, but I'm also home with my family. And I literally left my home in Williamsburg to be here because I knew it would be easier for my mom helping to just do the things that we need to do for my grandparents. My grandfather is high risk, so we know that anytime we, you know, go get groceries, we now add that added pressure of exposing him. And so, you know, I can imagine that, you know, people are now becoming caretakers. There might even be, I've spoken to a few staff members who are really feeling sort of alone at this point because they're not with their family, or they have parents who are in a different state, and so they're not able to do sort of what I'm doing to help take care of my family. So there might be definitely a need of how do we, you know, create this community that you're not alone, even though you are in your home alone. And maybe just linking people to resources that can help them sort of get through their day-to-day and thinking about their individual circumstances. That might be something too.
Okay. Yeah, it is tough for all of us. It's totally new. But let us go to the drawing board and think about that and propose a couple things to you.
Hi, Chris. This is Logan. I have a question, and I am also in agreement with Ariel about caring for other family members and as well as my grandchildren, because my son, he's a truck driver, and they closed down the daycare for the kids. And so his children have to come over here for 3 hours out of the day, which means I have to rearrange my schedule like from 2 to 5. I'm not really doing a lot of work on the for William & Mary. So at 5 o'clock to like 9 o'clock, I'm back on working to make sure, you know, I stay current. So any ideas or suggestions would be truly appreciative as to caring for family members. I care for my mother and my father on the weekends. The only time I have to do meal preps for them is the weekend, and because I am the only sibling that's here in this area that can do it, it is quite a challenge to juggle and balance all of those things at once, but without, you know, having to work on the weekend sometimes. So like I said in my message, it's sometimes most of the time, I truly feel like I am working harder than ever teleworking. I guess until I can balance it out, it'll be okay. But I feel like I'm working harder or just as hard as if I was in the office.
Thank you so much for sharing, Logan. We appreciate you being open and honest about that. I would agree with you and Shannon that I feel as though I'm working harder. I feel like I have absolutely no time to sleep. My days are kind of broken up in threes. I have to teach my 3 school-age children. I'm trying to get them their recommended time to focus on their virtual learning packets and trying to do work. And also as a student, so I'm definitely feeling the same crunch as you. I'm working harder than ever. My children had ice cream sandwiches for breakfast this morning because it's hard to wrangle everything that everyone needs to do at once. But I think this is a perfect time for everyone to start thinking about some of those things that we can elevate and send to Dr. Lee so that he can and his team can maybe possibly put some things together for us to remain connected and get some resources in one central place for us. So if you do have suggestions, you can send them to the HR email, or if you can feel free to share right now, we can brainstorm on some of those things in the time that we have left.
Latrice, I am sorry for jumping in again. This is Shannon, but I updated my Zoom this morning and my little hand raiser is not working. I'm having some technical difficulty. However, the one thing that we have found in my office that kind of helps connect face to face is we use Teams, Microsoft Teams. And for those who have it, I highly recommend it if you have others. We don't just type to each other, we'll actually call each other on it. And so you kind of get that face-to-face time. And we've actually done it, you know, sometimes mid-afternoon when we grab a cup of coffee or something, we'll hop on there and just chat about life for 5 minutes. And it just kind of seems to break up that monotony of the day and vent to each other about, you know, I got this email that said this, or whatever the case may be. It's just kind of helped. So that's just a suggestion. If you have that feature, it has helped our office kind of adjust to it.
Does anyone know about, I'm sorry, thanks, Shannon. But I do have a question, and you bring about a good point that leads me to a question. What about our colleagues that don't have access to the internet that might not be able to jump onto Microsoft Teams? Does anyone know how those colleagues are remaining connected? Can they look at the FAQs? Are they hearing things word of mouth? How can we reach them?
Latrice, for that particular question, there is a provision in our policies, I think on the FAQs, possibly the procurement site. It talks about with approval of a supervisor, someone can get I think they're calling it MiFi device or whatever, you know, I think it's a personal Wi-Fi connection to access you know, the internet. So I think that's one. And then also a person can use their cell phone for a Wi-Fi connection, and then, you know, keep their receipts to show that you know, that ad, and then claim reimbursement. But don't take my words exact. I can't remember what the procedure is, but there's a provision for that. It's on the procurement and the remote it.wm.edu websites. Yep.
Do you know if there's a limit to that reimbursement, or if my supervisor approves it, I'm okay?
I don't know. I would have to check that website. I don't remember what the details of it is. Yep.
Okay, Dr. Lee, thank you. Thank you so much for sharing that. Other folks
Yep.
may find that helpful.
Yep.
If I may just jump in for 1 second, and this is probably definitely on me. I don't know if I have communicated that our meetings are usually an hour and a half, but I do recognize that most people don't sort of have an hour and a half, especially with our current schedule. So I just wanted to say that you can stay on past the hour. We're here. But if you do have to go because you were probably allotting this for an hour, do that too. But I did want to just jump in and talk about a couple of things that I was going to announce at the end. One, I saw that there will be on April 16th, the Leadership from Your Living Room course that is available through Cornerstone for you to sign up. And I think that's probably a really good opportunity for us to really look at our ways of using this time for our own professional development. And I thought that was something that was good to share, that I saw in the digest, that you should share with your colleagues and be there if you can. Also, we will send an email regarding the, hold on, I'm pulling it up right now. Where's the email? It's about the President's Award for Community Service. And this is hosted by the Office of Community Engagement. And we'll send this email to you too, just so you can go about it. But the Office of Community Engagement is accepting nominations and applications for the 2020 President's Award for Community Service. This award will be presented at opening convocation and carries a $500 cash prize that will be donated to a community agency of the recipient's choosing. This is a very prestigious award and is open to any returning student or one faculty and one staff or faculty member. Nominations are due by May 1st and applications are due by June 15th. And like I said, we'll definitely get this out to you so that you can have the links and, to nominate your colleagues. But those were just two announcements that I wanted to make sure that we put out there. Okay.
I think we have someone that has some more additional information on the hotspots. Larry, feel free to jump in when you can.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I had to do some research on this for the people that work for me here in the main plant control room. And as of last week, IT department is all out of the MiFi devices. So unless they've gotten some in the last 5 or 10 days, you would have to either set your phone up as a Wi-Fi hotspot and complete that wireless stipend form to get reimbursed. And as you know, your department may let you purchase one from a third-party vendor. That's all up to your department. But I just wanted to let everybody know, as of last week, IT department was all out of the MiFi hotspot devices.
Thanks, Larry, for that information. We will remain committed to bringing information to you all that are interested. And I know I can feel free to, if anyone lets me know that they're interested in one, I can email IT periodically to see if they've gotten them in and then let you know, so that we don't experience anyone that might want one or need one or be interested in taking advantage of that once they get that supervisor approval, not being able to get one because they've run out. Does anyone else have anything else that they want to elevate that we can share with Dr. Lee in the time that we have left?
Hi, Logan again from Music. I just want to say thank you and just give a big shout out to Shireen Moore. And I say that, and all of you guys have been helpful, but Shireen has really helped me to stay focused and helped me to stay on track during this transition. I just want to say thank you to everybody, but a big shout out to her for keeping me focused. Thank you.
I know I saw Shireen. I'm sure she's appreciative. Maybe she's shared that with you, Logan, separately. Is there anyone else that might have something that they want to share? A kudos, a thank you, please help me remain sane.
Latrice, I'm actually here. I just had to figure out how to unmute my computer. And thank you, Logan, for that. Basically, all I do is just listen. And that is a good thing for all of us too, when somebody needs an ear, because things are just a little bit too much for you at that moment. Just a listening ear is very helpful to me. I'm sure it's helpful to Logan, and it would be helpful to anyone just to have somebody to talk to, because we are now all in a very different environment. We can't leave our house. We can't do our morning ritual that we do at work, interacting with each other. So a phone call is good. Something more than just typing, more than a text, just a voice and an ear is all I do.
Thanks, Shireen. Sometimes that's all anyone needs. So it seems like Logan was very much appreciative of you taking the time.
Latrice, can I do a shout out to Gail? She's been a great partner and supporter of the community, and I think it's appropriate to recognize leadership at this important time.
Kudos to Ariel. I agree 100%. She's doing a lot behind the scenes. We work together quite closely, and we're hoping that this has been helpful to you all. And if there's anything that you all need, please feel free to email staffassembly@wm.edu, and we'll do our best to make sure that we help to support you during this time.
I'm just going to step on and say thank you, Dr. Lee. It has been really great working with you through this. I know I have to set up something with you very soon, just on some thoughts and some things we already talked about. And of course, Latrice, I am always appreciative of you because you have really been sort of just I'm just going to say ride or die through this, because I talk to you about everything in terms of just like helping me out and really helping to think through things very well. And I really want to say thank you to just the executive board and the whole staff assembly. You all have been so supportive. You have been just everything to me too. This is my first real opportunity as a leader, and I don't take it lightly, and you all have made me better. You have helped me learn more about myself. You've helped me learn more about you, the college campus, and you really helped me through my decision making, and I don't take anything that is said very lightly, and I'm just completely appreciative of the support. And I continue to look forward to you guys guiding me through this, because one thing about that I believe in leadership, it's not about what I say or think, it is about how I can help motivate, how I can encourage, how I can empower, and I hope I continue to do that. But you guys have just been completely amazing. And so I'm really hoping that with this conversation, this meeting, I'm just really overwhelmed by the sheer number of this meeting. And I'm really thankful that the staff, really showed up. And I definitely ask you all to just keep your ears to the ground, find out, what's going on and let us know so we can help. We are in this together. This is a new territory for all of us. And for us to come out through this, we have to be in it together, through the good, the bad, the ugly. And so really use the staff assembly to your advantage to help us be better for the staff and help make us a part of this community, because we are a part of this community. But that's all.
So we have reached that magical 60-minute point. So if anyone does need to drop off, please feel free. I will remain on, Ariel will remain on. If you want to continue to share, if you want to continue to offer encouragement, if there's any updates you want to provide, anything like that, please feel free. But if not, it was great connecting with you, and we hope to see you soon.
Latrice, the one thing this is Shannon again, the one thing I would just say to everyone, whether you're teleworking or on campus, considered essential personnel, is when you hear things and people chattering, before you jump to the conclusion that they are correct, it's probably in times like this where there's already so much information being passed along, to actually verify that that information is correct before taking the ball and running with it. And there's plenty of campus resources to do that. So I just think that sometimes it creates unnecessary stress to an already stressful situation. When to listen is one thing, but then to try to offer solutions without knowing all of the facts is just can create more issue. So that would be my only suggestion. There's so many resources out there, and the one thing that we've been doing in my office is, because like Dr. Lee said, the facts that are out there under the COVID page are being updated routinely, daily, sometimes, hourly. We've just been making it a point to check those facts in the mornings and then again in the evenings to see if anything's changed. That way, if people have questions, then we'll know either where to direct them or to whom to direct them. So that would be one piece of advice, that I would try to convey and hope that we could all leave here with.
Excellent reminder, Shannon. I see some hand claps for you.
And I'll just offer a funny to kind of lighten the mood some. So, I said earlier, it's hard to be stuck in here. But this morning I was rushing to get on a Zoom meeting, and I thought, oh, before I do that, I'd like to have a cup of coffee. So I go over to the coffee maker, which is, just steps away at this point, and make my coffee only to spill it all over me, all over the floor. And I thought, at least I'm not riding down the road on my commute. I can just walk down the hallway and change my clothes. So that's what I did. It was, that part of it was actually pretty convenient to be here, to have quite the little accident and just be able to change my clothes and keep on going.
I'll just say I've enjoyed this commute from my bed to, I'm in a sunroom right now. It just cuts down on so much time. So I'll just say that's another silver lining in all this.
Yes, Ariel, but you don't have to shave though. That's been my regret. I have to still get up and dress because I have so many of these Zoom meetings, and everyone wants you to show your face.
That's why they pay you the big bucks, Dr. Lee.
But I'm only going to wear that one green shirt. I'm going to get 8 hours use out of it. That's all I got to say.
I still haven't had a pajama day. I've had to do the same thing. I have Zoom meetings, it seems like every day. And so every day I have to get up, put my makeup on, get dressed, at least look presentable from the top up. So I am waiting for a pajama day.
For anyone
pajamas,
that is,
but I'm definitely casual.
For anyone that's unable to see the chat, I just want to mention that Robin has posted a message that the telework, hold on, so many chats coming in. But now I can't find it. Robin, can you go ahead and share what you, go ahead and share what you shared? Thank you.
So Sam Jones just sent an email out not too long ago. So it does say telework should be the norm, not the exception. All employees who can should be teleworking. This directive is now extended through June 12th. And he also has some other stuff, just Zoom security, best practices. There's more information for students for summer sessions and research. So everything's updated on the COVID-19 website.
Thank you, Robin. Colleen, I think I cut you off. Go ahead and you can finish your point. I'm sorry.
Oh, no. I just happened to be at the chat that you were referring to, and I was just going to read it for you, but that's okay.
Thanks. I appreciate the teamwork, Colleen.
Hi guys, Amy here. Came to the party late, my apologies. I don't know if you discussed this earlier, but I did want to give a shout out to Crystal. I found the video very helpful. I will say that you made taking the gloves off look really easy, and it is not. I attempted to use your method of the pointer finger and ended up touching everything with those gloves with my bare hand. So anyway, I did want to give a shout out for that video, and I appreciated all the tips and the pointers. So thank you.
Thank you, Amy. That was really nice. Yeah, taking off the gloves. We couldn't find any glove that actually fit her. Megan and my room. And so it was a little bit easier, but if you do it enough, which I do it pretty much every day, doing what I do, you'll get better at it.
Is Dr. Lee still here? Yes. Dr. Lee, I have a question that was asked. If someone has been exposed to the virus and that particular person has not received their test results back yet to provide a positive, the person that's been exposed, are they eligible for the leave that's been granted by the personal health emergency leave?
The short answer is yes, from the perspective of, we have to protect, public health. So I would think so. The answer is yes. I think there's a technicality in the federal law. I can't remember exactly how it goes, but the short answer is yes. They may be eligible for the state and or the federal, and there's slightly different variables there, how that's kind of described. But the short answer is, if anyone thinks that they have been exposed, they should self-quarantine immediately, and we'll worry about the back end of it later. Yep.
Okay, thank you.
This is Ariel. I have sort of an ask to all of those who are still on. And I know it came up during the town hall, sort of, what is the expectation for, especially those of us who are classified operational hourly, so that we can monitor our hours. And I had a call yesterday, sort of think about how can we further get sort of ideas out there about sort of the supervisor-employee relationship and how we can really work as a team to get through this, because the workday is not what the workday was, because at one point we were in an office and so you had your 8 hours there, and now you're at home and you're trying to balance your home life, whether that be with children, parents, fur babies, whatever you have going on. And I would really like to hear, you don't have to say this in the chat or even on here, you can even email us at staffassembly@wm.edu, but just to find out, what are your offices doing that is really working out? Where do you see that you are shining in your offices and creating a realistic sort of work space for yourselves? I know some people come on really early so that they can be with their children and help out their children during the day, and they come on later. So I just wanted to see if there were sort of any type of frameworks or any type of adjustments that you have done with your offices that are working really well, so that we can help sort of figure out if we can float those ideas around to different offices who may be struggling or who might just want to know what other offices are doing. That way, that'll kind of help us to stay engaged as a community and help each other out. Just putting that out there.
Hi, this is Barb Young from the Reeve Center. Hey, I just have a quick question, Ariel, well, or Chris Lee, regarding that same thing that you were just talking about, Ariel, about hours and how they're different now and just things like that. Like being that you're, we're operational and not exempt. And obviously we have to work the 40 hours, but are there specific hours within which that we need to put in our 40 hours?
I think the short answer is during the work week, and we have urged, caution, and advised supervisors to be flexible. So I'm going to assume that the work week is Sunday to Saturday, unless Debbie tells me it's otherwise, because we do have a defined work week. I just don't know what it is. I think it's Sunday to Saturday. So I think, if you got to manage your life and move things around and adjust, every supervisor has the obligation today by directive of Sam and our leaders to be flexible, understanding the challenges that all families face.
Chris, this is Liz. I just wanted to pop in that our folks in athletics and at VIMS do have a different work schedule that was specifically designed for the needs of those two offices and environments. But you are right, our other work schedule is Sunday through Saturday for most of the office or for most of the campus.
Thank you, ma'am.
Go ahead, Larry.
Yeah, sorry. He said exactly what I was fixing to say. As a supervisor, I'm pretty flexible here, Sunday to Saturday, and as long as you get 40 in on any of those days, I'm happy with that.
Thanks, and I think Crystal might have mentioned it even in facilities where they've moved people's work week in order to help folks manage the social spacing as well. Some are using, like Saturdays, whatever. Some have also moved to 4-day work weeks, 10 hours a day. All of those things are possible. Obviously, everybody's work is different and how they work and who they work with, but we're encouraging you and your supervisors to just work it out. So we understand the dynamics are different. And I'm assuming in the short term, there's going to be some growing pains where we're all going to figure out what works and then adjust to that. And I like Ariel's suggestion, share ideas, because we're in this together, and good ideas can be documented and distributed to everybody to kind of learn them.
We have about 15 scheduled minutes remaining together. I want to just reiterate if anyone has any updates, kudos, or congratulations, encouragement to send to anyone, or whether they're here or not, you feel free to do so.
I do just want to re-thank Dr. Lee, Debbie Howe, Sean Glover. I know that she's off. We really do appreciate you being here. We appreciate your support and partnership. And I'm really just grateful to have you on this call, especially when some of these questions came up, and it really does allow the staff to have the much needed conversations in our time. So I continue to be appreciative for your guidance, your partnership, your leadership. And I agree with Destiny. Kudos to IT for just getting it done for us. I'm sure they've been inundated since day one when everything dropped. And so I know we as a campus just continue to be appreciative of their support, their help. And I know I've had them come onto my computer and fix a couple of things. And so I was just grateful for that opportunity to work with them to remote in. And so I know others continue to be appreciative as well.
This is Shannon. I'll just say that I know that in the news, there's been talks about, and this will probably come up at some point. I think it came up, in my opinion, rather inappropriately during the town hall, given the circumstances that we're going through right now, but about the governor's raises and such. But I've kind of, I've felt a little bit like I've had a little bit of a raise because I've got the same tank of gas that I've had for the last 3 weeks. And I have a commute and typically commute about 45 minutes each way. So it has saved me a ton of money. And I have felt like I've had a little bit of a raise during this time period. So even if we don't get the 3%, I feel like we have been able to put a little money in our pocket if we've been following the order of stay at home, so that the spending is down, unfortunately.
Shannon, I think that is called snack money, because that's where mine has gone there.
You're eating your gas money now.
Isn't that the case? It's like you don't have any shortage of that afternoon pick me up, right? It's available right there.
Yes, well, like I said earlier, mine is just steps away. So.
Well, my son has come home from college. He's in his last semester of his senior year, and so my grocery budget wasn't prepared for an extra 2-3 months of higher grocery bills. So that's where mine is gone.
If you have a growing young man, yeah, that's a deficit.
Exactly. And his friend. So.
Oh, wow. And we'll wait to see what happens, Shannon, on the power bill. That's been a question mark, since we were home all day.
Yeah, that's not going to probably be a very good one. Yeah, I think that question was actually raised during the town hall too. Are they going to, help? I said it'll be interesting to see, because some people that do have home offices or that work from home on a regular basis can actually claim that on their taxes. So that might give us a little bit of a break if we're able to work that out some kind of way next tax season. But it is, I would fully expect, given the fact that we're in uncharted waters and unprecedented times, that, when they do reconvene for a special session, which is the article that I read said they would have to do, that there would be, unfortunately, teachers have been waiting for a very long time for raises. And I think across the state, not just at William & Mary, that people have done a very good job of adjusting during these times. And maybe the General Assembly would make that a consideration given these times. But I also know that, we've, as a state, spent a lot of money. I'm sure it hasn't been cheap for our IT department. And as the budget person in my office, the spending has been cut, and I've actually stopped ordering stuff that I would have routinely been ordering this time of year. So it's just it's an eye opener, sure, but maybe we'll get a little surprise.
Not to bring the mood down, but Dr. Lee, if you could talk about the performance evaluations. I know that they are on hold at the moment, but an interesting thought came up during the town hall. Someone mentioned a pass-fail option for those. Are we going to see, when we do get back to some type of normal, that the performance evaluations will be conducted as they have in the past, or will there be just a yes, we made it and you're good to go, or will they be the ones, the version that we're used to?
Well, I don't want to create policy now for sure, but there we will delay. I think Debbie Howe, who's responsible for this, has already made that determination. How they will be conducted has not been determined. Quite frankly, we just haven't had the bandwidth to think it through. She has reached out to some of the major employers on campus to get their feedback, and that will help us determine what to do next. But delay, yes. How is still an open question. Our goal is to be supportive and not disruptive to the campus, and also possibly take the opportunity to adjust in some ways what we do to better reflect the uniqueness of the different kinds of work across campus, meaning that what folks need in public safety and what folks need in advancement is different than what they might need in arts and sciences. But we have one way of working, so that all those ideas are in this, in the mix, but we haven't had a chance to sort that out yet. But I'm assuming within the next 2 to 3 weeks we will know, and we'll probably have a note sooner than that to let people know that we're delaying.
Go ahead, Robin.
I just wanted to share with the group also that HR, we do have an updated page of HR resources for COVID-19. So if you go to the HR website, there's a link that will take you to all those resources. Also, we've created a Facebook group for teleworking parents or students that we're sharing resources that you can use for your kids. We're just really bouncing ideas off. So if anyone wants to join that, please feel free to do that and share ideas with us. But I just wanted to let you know if those 2 resources are available to you.
Robin, what is the Facebook group called?
It is the Telework Resource Group. William & Mary Telework Resource Group. I'll send it out to you guys to make it. I'll get the exact. If you'd like our William & Mary HR Facebook page, there's a link to the group that way also.
Is it an open group, or you have to be accepted?
It's an automatic approval. There's just a William & Mary question and it'll automatically accept you in. We tried to keep it just limited to William & Mary employees, just in case anyone wanted to talk about something that they didn't want to be public. We tried to keep it somewhat closed off.
Thanks. Destiny, go ahead with your HR question.
Will the date change, or will there be any changes on when you can make healthcare changes, like add a vision or something like that? Does that make sense?
Yeah, you mean like open enrollment?
Yes, couldn't get it out.
It will probably happen around the same time every year. That's driven by the Department of HR Management. It takes effect July 1st. I'm going to assume that it's going to be during the month of May, as it always is, but we have not heard any inkling about it. I know that they are just like us. They've been running full speed on public health emergency leave and things like that, but we should hear something within the next 10 days.
Okay, I'm marking the time as 11:26, and I guess this can be considered our last call. If anyone else has any updates to share, any thoughts to share, please feel free to do so now. And if not, I will pass it on to Ariel one last time for final thoughts before we wrap up.
Okay, I'll go ahead and wrap it up. Thank you all for attending. This was a really great and informative meeting. We appreciate everyone's thoughts, ideas, and feedback. Again, if there are some things that are sort of more individual that you need to talk about, you can definitely contact us offline. We also know that HR is here for you too, and we can do this together if you need that sort of support. Let us know how we can be your partner in the workplace. So just feel free to contact us. Again, thank you for your time. Thank you for your ideas and questions. And also, if there's any feedback you want to give us about this meeting, we're more than happy to take it. You can email us at staffassembly@wm.edu. We hope you have a great day. Thanks.